Hello, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Today I have an update for you with my Pan That palette and my Finish 5 in 2025. So if you want to know how these are looking and how it's been going this past month, then please keep watching. So if you somehow missed last month's update and you've been following along, you'll know that I did have a palette that I finished just last month. I had two little bits of eyeshadows left that I put together and I finished it and all that. And I decided to bring in my Stone Vibes palette to use this because I know a lot of my YouTube friends have been getting rid of theirs because they're expiring. And yes, I would say that the shadows are not as good as they once were. Certain ones are better than others, and that was kind of always the case. So, you know, I just want to give it a little bit more attention. I don't know if I will fully pan it or not, especially the matte eyeshadows. I feel like if I finish the shimmers and the mattes are still left around, I might just let it be and toss it because the mattes are not really what's special about this. I do somehow, like, I wish that I could somehow save and like reuse this somehow, but I don't know. And I will say that like over time, this has definitely loosened up. It used to stand up when I would have it, but now it just, falls open. So, there's that. But yeah, so I didn't have any set goals really because it was the first time that I was bringing it in. So when I brought it in last month, it was 212 and 8400 grams, and I used 62 hundredths of a gram. I can't really say if that's, amazing. I will say each eyeshadow is supposed to be 85 hundredths of a gram. At least it was to start. Obviously, I've had this for a while, so they weren't brand new. So, I've used up almost a full eyeshadow. So, I guess if that was the case, maybe I could make pretty good progress, in the course of a year with this. Because I brought it in late. I'm not expecting to finish it by the end of 2025. So, but let's go ahead and talk about each shade. So this is what it's looking like right now. And I guess I could hold it this way too, can I? Without it being all, yes, then I can actually talk about it in order properly. Just a little bit tricky to hold, but I can do it. All right, so the first shade I used 4 times. I can use it as a lid setting shade, but I've also been trying to use some other palettes that have lid setting shades, and so I use those shades instead when I feel like doing that. I don't always set my lid. The next green shade I used 2 times. I have been trying to do some more green looks recently, and so, it's nice to have that. This shade is one that is definitely, I feel like it came off more silvery when I tried to use it more of my eyelid, and it doesn't look silvery in the pan. It has like this pink, blue, purple type of look going on, and that's what I remember it looking like, but it wasn't. But maybe it was just over the eyeshadow that I already, like I had a base on, so maybe that made it look silver. I wouldn't mind it looking silver. It's just more of it's never looked silver before, so what is going on? But I used that one 3 times. The Tiger's Eye shade is my favorite shade in the palette. I used it 4 times. Although it's funny, I had only had it used once, maybe for a while. And then I'm like, wait, I keep thinking I'm using it all the time and I should, use the other shades. But really, I've been kind of holding back on it. So let's remember not to do that, okay? Use your favorites. This next shade, Vibes, I used 4 times. This peachy shade, I've been playing around with it. I have used it just as a matte. I actually used it, not today, but like under my eyes as a sort of brightener. I think it's a little too pigmented for that. And I could try layering maybe this shade on top for that. But then there's the whole, I'm getting a lot of powder under my eyes and it's gonna be really dry looking. So, but as a result of playing around with it, I've used it 9 times. I also have an orange shadow that I've been working on in another project, and so this shade has gone well with that one because that one's like a little bit more pigmented and just a brighter shade, so this kind of helps blend the edges. This brown shade, I've used it 3 times. This Bloodstone shade, I've enjoyed, I think, using it more. I've only used it twice, but on the lower lash line, I feel like on the lid, it's just not giving me what I want at this point. I don't know if it ever really did, to be honest. The blue shade here, I've used it 3 times, and the most recent is actually on my nails right now. So I have another polish under it, but mostly what you're seeing is this eyeshadow. So I thought it might be more fun since it's so flaky. I thought it would be good to use as a nail polish type of thing. And yeah, I think that was a good call. So I might potentially do that with some other eyeshadows in here, as I feel like they're just getting flaky and drying out, not working as well on the eyes. This purple shade, although it's not fully purple, I used it 3 times. Again, actually this I did use on the lid, but I feel like I also used it on the lower lash line. And same with the next shade, Meditate. I've used it twice, and once was on the lid, wasn't a big fan, and then on the lower lash line was a better call. Like I kind of like doing it sometimes like just like here, like 2/3 of the way, and then layering a lighter one the other third and overlapping. And then this shade I was actually using in my eyebrows for a bit. I tried using it as a liner, I've kind of, just played around with it. So I've used this 7 times in the past month. So, like I said, I didn't really have full-on goals for it for this past month. I'm just gonna be kind of seeing how I do, but I think going forward, obviously it would be good to be using, I don't know, it's like, do I want to set a goal where it's using each eyeshadow, a certain number of times each in a month, or just using the eyeshadows a certain number of times, like total in a month? Because that could be sort of, interesting, because then maybe I'm like working more on one shade than another, and maybe that's okay. I feel like it's easier for me tracking wise in some ways just to think if I try to use everything just on average 4 times a month, that could be a good goal. I didn't do it with most of the shades actually this past time, but maybe that could be the goal going forward, of using them 4 times each. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at for now. And then for my Finish 5 in 2025, all I have left is the 2 blushes that have been in, that I mixed together. So I have to say, there is progress, and I mean, I'll have another picture up as well, so you'll get to see. But I know that I still have over 2 grams left of product in here, and so I'm gonna have to use like close to 1 gram, because I will say, okay, when you're seeing this, I've actually filmed it quite a bit before, like the way my updates go, it's like I film it, but then it doesn't get posted for a bit. So at this moment in time, I still have closer to 3 months to finish it. But okay, I'm just gonna kind of tell you. So I'm at 56 and 2100 grams. So I used 5600 grams this past month. The most I've used since it's been repressed in this form was 7600 grams, and that was using it every single day. So if I was to do that and get the 70, hundredths of a gram or something, knowing that I have over 2 grams left, then maybe. But I also want to make sure I'm using my other blushes, because they're just all sitting there and expiring over time anyway. So I don't know. I really thought I could, but it just feels, like I'm generally more in the 0.5 gram-ish type of usage for this. And yeah. So your guess is as good as mine on if we think I can finish this by the end of 2025. I will, though, still try to finish it, even if I'm going into January, February, hopefully not much further than that. But I feel like by also allowing myself to use the other blushes, then I feel less guilty that they're just sitting there, while I'm trying to pan this. So, I think it's still a good usage amount. I feel like I've seen more of the rings. I'll see it better, I guess, when I compare the pictures. But, do I wish that I could have met my goal for the whole year? Yes, and I don't know if I will. So, at least I did the palette though, and I did 4 of the 5, because I'm counting them pressed together as 1 at this point, just to keep it easy for talking about, even though it's 2 blushes. But go ahead and stay tuned, for my next month. and we'll see if I can get closer to, you know, the 70/100ths of a gram, or why did I say 7/10ths of a gram? That makes more sense, a little easier. So 7/10ths of a gram of usage, then, you know, maybe we have a chance. So that is all I have for you this time. I want to thank you for watching. You can subscribe if you haven't. You can also give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. But just, you know, thanks for being here. Until my next video, I hope you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye!